everyone, I'm Jamie.
I'm Amy, and this is Clever. Today's episode, with the inimitable Aaron Draplin, was recorded live from a podcast studio in an Airstream trailer on the show floor of Adobe Max, Adobe's annual creativity conference. Jamie couldn't be there. That's why you'll only hear me on the interview. We want to give a big thanks to Adobe Max and Airstream for including us in the conference and inspiring us to take our show on the road.
Now back to Aaron. Many of you probably recognize the name. He's well established in the realms of logo design, graphics, type, and branding. He's worked at Snowboarder magazine, a big-time design studio, and even designed some logos for the Obama administration. But now he works for himself, having founded Draplin Design Company in 2004. Oh, and he's the guy behind those Field Notes notebooks that have such a cult following.
Born in Michigan, now based in Portland, his life has been steeped in snowboarding, punk rock, a hardy constitution, a solid work ethic, continual hat wearing, and wordsmithing. He wears his strong character and integrity on his sleeve, and well, it's really easy to like him. Have a listen and see for yourself.
My name is Aaron James Draplin. I'm 45 years old as of yesterday. I live in Portland, Oregon.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. By way of northern Michigan. I'm a graphic designer by trade, but really the pursuits are to stay as little as possible, love it along the way, make a shit whack of money, pay a mountain in taxes, but try to dig it. I don't think it's too much to ask for.
No.
Aren't we lucky to be creatives, but then to like our jobs too? Graphic designers like to complain about what they do a little too much for my liking. So I'm here to champion it and say this is fun. So that's been the whole pursuit. No alarm clocks along the way either.
Well, all right. I love it. We like to start by going all the way back to the beginning. You said Michigan. I'm a fellow Michigander too. Let's slap our hand maps.
Right. So you said Ypsilanti.
I'm from Ypsilanti. You?
Well, northern Michigan, Traverse City, but born
Okay.
in Redford, which is Detroit. So as much as I was a kid of the city, we left when I was 4. But I have a mom who was into Bobby Seger, a mom who was into Motown, a mom who was into the Stooges and the, Stay Alive with the fucking MC5. My mom has the MC5, the naughty record. She's got that. So she saw that stuff. So that's in me too. So the idea
Iggy
that
Pop and the Stooges?
Oh, she saw it.
Yeah.
So I have a cool mom. And my dad was incredible. But the idea that, that is a part of me. That Detroit is a part of me. But we went north, and then it was a real treat for us to come back to the city to go to, Tel 12 Mall. Mm-hmm. Go to, the merry-go-round. I don't know what year you are, but I'm class of 91. So I was a kid in the 80s.
Yeah.
82, 85. I was down there for Tiger games or to go school shopping or to see, my modernist aunt and uncle in Southfield, and then my not-so-modernist rest of the family out in Milford or something. But,
Okay.
who were, really warm and fun and family, my uncles and aunts and stuff. So we were down there a whole bunch. But, as I started to get older, plotting my escape.
So Traverse City can start to feel a little small if you've got big dreams. Is that what happened?
I mean, it was mountains, really. We were
Yeah.
snowboarders and skateboarders in the summer and snowboarders in the winter and
Okay.
pizza makers all year long. And at 17 out of high school, our sites, the first wave went out in 85. The next wave went out in 88. And then it was our turn in 91, snowboarders going
right.
west. All to Breckenridge, so Summit County. When it was our shitty little turn in 93, we weren't going to go somewhere where we knew all the girls from our high school and all these dudes, whatever, and very sort of incestuous, weird. We kept going to Oregon, and that was 93.
Okay.
So, it was just to get to elevation.
So back up to your childhood a little bit. What was your family dynamic like? You said you had a cool mom. Yeah. You're pretty celebratory of your dad as well.
Of course.
Tell us what the Draplin dynamic was.
It was a cool household. There wasn't a lot of bumps and grinds, My dad was full of life, full of bullshit, funny. My mom was the sort of even keel who kept that animal in line. My mom was the one who probably worried a little more than my dad. My dad was the fun one. My mom was the kind of disciplinarian, with us. I had 2 little sisters. We have 3. My dad would say I have 3 kids, 1 of each.
Okay.
But, Legos, Pizza Fridays, Little League Baseball, pretty all-American shit, but little tastes and touches of modernism.
Well, so that's what I was going to ask you is how did your creativity start to,
Well, I like to
marinate
draw.
in there?
I always like to draw.
Okay.
I've been drawing since I was, Mom tells you stories, 3 and 4, stick figures and things. So she got me going young. I could draw my dad sleeping, maybe not. I could just draw. I like to draw. I like to, do diagrams of war models and things because it's very technical and just this quality of like paper and pens. Out of high school, based on my height, weight, face, and demographic, go be some kind of plumber or something, But I had just enough, with my aunts and uncles. My one uncle was, sort of an engineer, and he would go over there.
Was he in Michigan manufacturing?
Yes, and seats for one of the cars, one of the guys.
Okay.
But they had like Eames chairs laying around, or just really simple, like plywood art and stuff from one of my cousins, one of their sons. But I just would see that stuff, and that was different than sort of the Victorian turn of the century. I want to say it's called arts and crafts stuff my mom and dad had, which were these old, beautiful, tooled oak things my dad would rescue from these rough houses in Detroit, take back up north, and then strip all the paint off. And my mom has beautiful oak hutches. The entire place is all that stuff. So we were raised around this appreciation for the old.
Yeah.
My dad's old signs, being respectful of when they tear down Olympia Stadium and what it means to legions of Red Wing fans. I was raised around that. The new isn't always better, kind of thing.
Right.
But, summers with my grandma in Detroit, summers with my Irish grandma, Leo, pickled on Budweiser up in Wixom.
Evenings in Hamtramck?
We went to Polish Kitchen a couple of times, I have these romantic, notions, such as stupid graphic design. I'm just tired of him. The notion that there's big ideas of going home someday, but I don't know where I live. And we had to escape. That's really where it started. It was just getting the hell out.
And getting the hell out. Well, so I wanted to talk to you about your teenage years.
Yeah.
Is that when you started to feel like, to plan your escape?
Yeah, I think
that's when snowboarding's happening for you, right?
Yeah. When we were kids, really what it was the punk rockery or the fuckery of skateboarding and snowboarding.
Yeah.
Through that, we met girls were our equals. Girls loved their own bands and stuff too. It wasn't this bullshit where the jocks ran the roost and then these girls hung up. Fuck all them. We didn't care about them. They were the pretty people. By the way, I got news for you. 27 years later, we won. We listened to better bands. Yes. We got better tattoos. These stupid people in their golf shirts. Ugly kids named Michaela, McKenna, McKenzie, and Riley. Fuck them all. Anywho, I saw that. And I was like, I want to go learn about art, and I'm going to go do it. I want to, but see, it wasn't this glorious thing of like, I'm going to go be a graphic designer or even an artist. It was very trade-centric. Okay. I need to make a living. So as a young kid, what skateboarding taught us was, individuality,
Well, the punk skateboarding movement had a lot of DIY, that ethos of like, I can do it myself and I don't need to follow the rules necessarily.
I am so glad that we were dipped in that stuff because it showed us that you could be new wave, you could be goth, you could be hippie. We hung out with hippies. But it
showed us how to deconstruct the system.
You found your path, and it was okay. When we went to that party, all the good-looking kids, who cares where they were at? What, studying for some SAT or some school they were going to go to? Fine. We started to think for ourselves, make our own decisions, and guys, go off the deep end. I'm pretty much straight edge, but nothing political. Just too much work to lift the cup, to hold it.
The 40-ounce curls.
That wasn't your workout. Like all the sticky stuff on these little tools and things for weed. I don't care. I'm saving it for someday. I just didn't give a shit because it was like I don't want my freedom to be taken away in dumbass Michigan. So I was pretty good for like if I got pulled over, I knew my rights and I could just talk to the cops and say, "You can search my car you want. I can deliver pizzas, man. Go." That's different than some kid, down in an eighth of weed, trying to get it away from these guys. Mm-hmm. So that came from punk rock too. To see that, these, minor threats, and these fugazis and minor threats and stuff could have a point of view that was so much bigger than just rah, 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 punk, 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 punk. No, I got an education in how to talk about friends who are different, how to appreciate and tolerate. That came from punk rock. That did not come from my school. It came from Ian MacKay in some weird way, Fugazi or something.
It was that angstiness that like the status quo needs to be better. We can tinker with the system and make it better. But you were getting ready to tell us about...
The dead Kennedys,
Yeah, and descendants.
That's politically charged. And it planted a seed in me to, in a healthy way, to just look at government a little sideways, just a smidge, and say, wow, you got to look a little deeper than just what we're fed. Right. That's the dead Kennedys.
Exactly, so. Yes. Okay, so skateboarding took you out to Portland, and this was before college?
Well, 2 little community college years right out of high school, 17 and 19. And then I had the blessing of mom and dad. So that was enough to let me go, because otherwise I wanted to go at 17, but I just wasn't ready. But at 19, I had their blessing. So we had a couple grand in our pockets. We saved our money, went to Bend, Oregon, Portland on the weekends, see, horseshit bands. Who were people going to see in our group? They were going to see Offspring. Wait for it. I was going to see the Jesus Lizard.
Yeah, I saw the Jesus Lizard.
Yes, you did. One of the beautiful people. I just saw him 2 weeks ago, 60 years old up there, dropping his drawers. Just, good, clean fun. I'm so thankful, that skateboarding, punk rockery got me to the indie rock, got me to Dinosaur Jr., Sebadoes, the softer things, the Red House Painters. I could talk for hours just about bands, but really my heroes were the Butthole Surfers. My heroes were the Jesus Lizards. My heroes were the Flamin' Fucking Lips. They were these guys that had complete creative control. It wasn't about money or big or little or whatever. My heroes, they make their own art. That all comes from just going and taking your own way. So when we were out there, we were living like animals. We would buy our passes. I did a little bit of college. So I had an associate's degree at this point. Okay. But we were living out west. I was 19 years old, just starting my life, and 3,000 miles from my mom and dad. It was so awesome. And taking care of each other. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was great.
And were you feeling sort of liberated and lawless at the time? Or
were
you
bit,
feeling like you had a plan?
But also dumb, because we get out there. I remember we went to a big old Costco and loaded up on ramen and 24 packs of Cokes and just things that stupid 20-year-olds do.
Straight sugar and carbs.
And we got back to the house, and we didn't even have stuff to prepare it with. We didn't have like a strainer, or something. I remember I think we need to go buy a strainer. That's cutting into your budget.
Right.
So all the creature comforts we had as kids, as middle class, lower middle, I don't even know, who cares? Just regular
kids. You had to buy
kids.
your own toilet paper.
We had to go. So what you'd do is my buddy Chad Smith would steal it. For the record, Mount Bachelor, Chad would steal these 2-foot diameter. You could, let that roll go. You could sit and read a paper, check your watch before you grabbed a big wad. I'm going a little too deep, but we stole a lot of toilet paper from Mount Bachelor. Anyway, yeah.
Okay, so you did your skateboarding thing. I'm sorry, your snowboarding thing.
Yeah.
But at some point, you worked your way back to Minneapolis to go to art school. Tell me what was synergizing in your brain that made that decision happen.
Where we're from, as you know, you have to go to school.
Yeah.
If you don't go to school, you're not this. But what about my buddies who didn't have any of that privilege, I was lucky to have a mom and dad that could help me with my first 2 years of community college, which was $2,000. People talk about it these days like it's just something you just go do. I had friends who just went and started to work. They were just in the workforce at 18 years old. It's okay, So my mom and dad weren't allowed to go to school because my dad took care of my grandma. Because my mom had a dad who passed, and he had to take care of 6 brothers and sisters. That's their stories. And my mom was 23 at the time or something. So that's why I went, because I wanted to honor that. So that was always a hole in me. So 1 year out west is supposed to be 1 year of living, high on the hog, on the lamb, and then we're going to go back to some school. It turned into 5 years. I was going up to Alaska to work, and then I would go back to school.
Did you work in the fisheries?
No. I go where the fish bite.
Oh, okay.
Princess tours with the old people, the golden oldies, because they were, getting them off the planes and the big cruise ships, and we would take them through the interior on this train. I was a dishwasher. So I did that for 4 summers. That's how I would fund school towards the last couple summers. But it was this incredible Western adventure where we were snowboarding all over the West on no budget. We're just a bunch of rat kids collectively. What's so cool about the world, one of the hardest things that we ran into when we went out west, rich kids après lifestyle, where it's like, yeah, I got a credit card. That was really, I feel embarrassed saying that stuff, but It was hard because I would go up to Alaska to make my money for the next winter.
Yeah.
And they're down, I don't know, going to Lollapaloozas and shit. And I'm up there like washing dishes, but that's the best I could do. So I know how to suck, I'll just say. I just know how to go deal, you know?
Did you feel the classism was annoying, or you just couldn't relate to the entitlement?
Well, when you get out west
Yeah.
and you realize, oh, this snowboarding and shit. Remember, when we were back home, we would get a broom, push the snow into a lane on a golf course in the dark, because you put the lights on the where you land. Someone's car, you know, some 1991 Dodge Sadness Wagner or whatever these guys are driving.
Dodge Sadness.
The Dodge Despair. And that would be enough for us, because it wasn't about who was the best. It was about just being together.
Yeah.
So we get out there, and you realize you can't afford going to Jackson Hole, but what you can afford is hiking Targhee Pass on the way into Jackson Hole. That's free. If you're even allowed to go, like, even hike past those boundaries. But we did that. It was awesome. And got just enough of a taste. But here's the thing is, like, I started seeing friends up in Portland who had, like, degrees and things. Mm-hmm. And getting jobs. And cool jobs, snowboarding jobs, like in a snowboard company that makes jackets, and you get the other guy that makes the catalogs.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be one of those. I need to have a job.
Starting to manipulate and have a hand in the industry now, shaping things.
I mean, I didn't even know those things existed. So we started going to trade shows and seeing
action sports.
Yes, in Vegas, and seeing the people do this stuff and meeting some of the characters, and of course, just grommets going down there to stickers.
I love that word, yeah.
Stickers and goodies, and there is a certain AM/PM on Sahara in Las Vegas where I barfed my guts out, high as fuck on red hot schnapps. I'm not much of a drinker. And I got hammered, and I just told my friends I need to go figure this out, and I like hit 3 walls inside a 4-wall shitter at an AM/PM. So that is a warm memory of going to Vegas as kids. But we got to see it. Mm-hmm. And it was like, what is the sort of common denominator of these people getting these jobs? Sure, it's nepotism, but also, no, that guy said he went to this art school. So I got this hole in me.
Okay.
And combined with mom and dad saying, when are you going to come back? So at 24, I went to Minneapolis. A hero was Chuck Anderson. A hero was Haley Johnson, the Sharon Warners, and Todd Piper Houseworth, and just things and stuff around Minneapolis, and it was awesome, and I wanted to be around it, and I went to MCAD, and I got in. I couldn't afford it. I got in. I got a big-ass scholarship. That's what allowed me to go. It was $18,000 a year. It was my scholarship, and it was $36,000 a year for school, so I had to take a big old loan, $35,000 or something. But I got to go finish my last 2 years there and really fell for the city at a time when, out west, I don't know, what was cool out in Portland in 1998, Modest Mouse or something. Mm-hmm. Like, I loved all that stuff too, but I was going back to the Midwest to, like, look for the ghosts of the replacements.
Right.
I didn't get to see them. I wasn't old enough. So I was, kind of
I
messed.
saw them in Detroit once.
Now
and
I
in
know.
New York
What
City.
year did you get out of high school? Help me here.
89.
Oh, well, how did you get to see them? That means you're a senior and I'm just a pitiful little sophomore. How did you get to?
Because I made a point of it.
Okay, right? You have 2 more years on me, so you got to go figure it out. My friends
But you got to live in Minneapolis.
See, my friends who were 85s, 87s, 86s, they saw them a bunch because they were like 16 going down. But I remember seeing their name in the paper and stuff. But we were into Nirvana and Monster Magnet and bullshits and whatever it was. But to go there and love that stuff and love how Spartan their whole aesthetic was and how just they shot themselves in the foot.
They're the kings of shooting themselves in the foot.
I just wanted to be a graphic designer like that. I don't care about awards and who was the best or being accolades or whatever. I just wanted to go and be honest with it, just make a living. If it meant working for a newspaper, it's not a dirty word. So I loved it back there because I got to see.
I remember Paul Westerberg said once that he studied songwriting and then he decided to do everything that they told him not to do.
Well, and first of all, he's dyslexic. So he's like has this, the wordsmith of like someone who's having a problem with that, turned it into an art form.
Yeah.
That's a very Paul Westerberg thing. What a hero in so many weird ways. And when you get really close to him, have you met him?
No.
I have.
Oh.
And he got really close, and you saw like how rough his teeth were. He's a human being at that point who's fragile as fuck, you know. And it was just like, I loved him that much more.
Yeah.
Because you put him on these pedestals until you really get up close and see all the warts and moles and scritches and scratches. You know,
Then you can relate too.
I just
and
loved
then
him.
you feel the connection.
I just loved that how primal it kind of felt. So I was back there at a time, and you know, if you know about graphic arts, in the late 90s, it was all the residual riffraff of like the postmodern, postmodern, masturbatory, just sprinkle shit in a page and slam it down and then get a grad degree over it. I like the grid. And
Okay.
that wasn't very popular, and frankly, it was not popular like the goofy replacements then, because there was other things that were cool. I was made fun of by people that were Minneapolis people who were embarrassed by that shit. And it's like, I know I missed it by 10 years, but those ghosts were still really beautiful to me. So I just loved that when I was there. Like, I just like being around this.
Well, there's something about the Midwest that I think hardens people in a really beautiful way. And there's something about your work, your logos, that are sort of sturdy, enduring, and they look good weather beaten.
Well,
You know, like-
right. You go to a train yard and you see a train come in the snow, and the snow falls off the side of that metal train, and you can still see the logo. That is graphic design. And that train yard's shitty and dirty and weird, and that is absolute. It's doing its job.
And it's got a layer of brown,
Just
muck.
muck.
Atmospheric smog on it.
Just bullshit. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, now when you go 2 hours away and you're in, you know, middle of nowhere, Windham, Minnesota, out of that big city, and it's just dirt farming, you see it too. A train going by a mile away. What we got to see in Minneapolis, aside from just nerding out on heroes, we got to see some pretty highfalutin stuff too at the Walker Arts Center. See people challenge contemporary issues and excesses of graphic design. I got to be around all of it. And then I would go to a steelyard for an afternoon. It would absolutely reset me, because just Wally the steel guy doesn't give a shit what your degree is.
Right.
This is what it costs per pound of wood. What are you using this shit for?
Right.
Well, I'm using it for some stupid art project. So it was a really great reset after, and I don't want to say decadence, but just going out west and seeing people have everything or act like it sometimes. You're in these Jackson Holes and Tahoes and shit. When you every one of those towns, every one of those towns has a crusty little undercurrent of fuckheads, and I was part of that in Little Bend, Oregon. The coolest part was we got to go up to the city to see culture and things and stuff,
Yeah.
and not be limited to like dudes talking about mountain climbing or something. Like, who cares about even going outside if the hill's not good? Anywho.
After art school and all this appreciation and this crusty little undercurrent of fuckheads, it sounds like you are now crystallizing into a mix of sort of appreciative of your background and also, you know, widening your eyes to what's possible.
That's what school did.
Yeah.
People always say, did you need to go? Because we've heard you say you absolutely needed to go. Contemporary issues, contemporary things that you need to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
We met the academics. It's not a dirty word. But to everybody out there who's 22 and going to grad school and you're 23 and 24, don't. Go teach for 10 years. Like Santiago Piedrafetta did. Santiago Piedrafetta, he was the sweetest guy. And he was good. And when we got him, he was, 35 years old, but he had war wounds.
Okay.
And there were other people, and I'm not going to name the names, but they were just professional teachers.
Okay.
And they were throwing their weight around in the weirdest of ways. I wanted the guys who had to go, was one woman, she dealt with big city New York bullshit for years. She knew how to handle us. That was worth its weight in gold.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little bit of cynicism being around grad students who were just like, go out and hustle like everyone else. I was ready for that. So as much as I would love to go do that stuff, I just got to see all elements, and I could not get out quick enough to go work.
Okay.
Not to change the world, to just make a living.
Well, you seem like you're one part hustler, at least.
I want to make a living. I want to make my mom and dad proud. And I had to have a job. It's not even like, what a privilege to be like, how are you going to go use your design to change the world? Who the fuck thinks like that? Academics in a bubble at a $36,000 school. Go to the steelyard. There's no aesthetic there. Don't get cut. Don't grab that. Those signs were just as beautiful to me. Mm-hmm. So the idea that you were going down the line in culture to go work on some newspaper, what pretentious bullshit. I was ready to go do anything. I was lucky to get some jobs offered that were going to be working on whatever was cool in Minneapolis. But I took a snowboarding magazine job.
Yeah. So you moved to Southern California.
Oh, yeah. Big mistake.
It's not your
the
people
beautiful
there.
people. No, everyone was nice. Oh, this is all being filmed, too. Thanks.
You're very expressive. It's good.
Well, who the fuck drives a car at 88 miles an hour cruise control? Everybody in their BMWs. Like I had a Passat wagon I saved for, and I went in and got my first real loan, $460.50 a month. Paid it for 5 years, but at least that allowed me to go as fast as everybody down here, and it just scared me. I wasn't here for the beach. Who goes outside? I was here for a magazine with a bunch of scrubby buddies. They were the same guys I would have been on the hill with, and it was awesome, but I had to try that first before I went and did the cool job.
Well, that was first, and then you went and worked for a studio, and then in 2004, you struck out on your own.
Yeah.
Now you're the captain.
I got just enough of a taste, in the studio zone in an awesome place called Cinco Design in Portland, Oregon that's still kicking ass. Just enough of a taste. It's not anything on their part. I just found that I could make more money freelance than I could being a good little worker, and I try to be a good little worker,
Okay.
coming in early, staying late, but I can make more money freelance. So yes, 2004, I got free, whatever that means. I tripled how much I made. I tripled my workload, and I could sleep in until whenever I wanted. If I wanted to stay up till 6 in the morning, it was up to me.
Right.
What a freedom! What a privilege! What a scary.
Well,
but
yeah.
I did it in the Midwestern way, though. I didn't just go jump ship. I saved 20 grand.
Okay.
Because that 20 grand I could have lived on for 10 years.
Very practical.
Well, that was pounded into me.
Did it give you the freedom, too, to take the types of jobs that you wanted to take?
I wouldn't.
Or not until you had enough put away to...
I took everything.
You took everything.
How are you going to get ahead?
Scrappy, resourceful.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And I learned through that compassion, compromise, how to be a good little constituent on the clock, off the clock, not fighting, none of this adversarial shit. I'm the designer, you're the something, you're the client, I'm right, you're wrong. None of that shit. Get it out the door. Who are you designing for? It's not for my portfolio. It is for this paycheck. Mm-hmm. People always say, what's your favorite thing about graphic design? Those big fucking paychecks. Oh, they're fun.
Well, I mean,
it's
you
true.
design for the client, and then you get it out the door, and then it's done. But Field Notes is a different story because you have ownership in that. You are the emperor of Field Notes.
Well, I would say I got lucky.
Well, okay. Maybe there's some luck involved,
snowboarding
but
and
there had to
skateboarding.
be a clear decision.
Oh, yeah. Well, skateboarding, it taught me to challenge stuff.
Okay.
So if I went to Italy, and I did with one of my clients, and they took me through Milan for an awesome day of seeing the highest of culture on their high street or whatever it was called. Seriously, going to these Prada places, a sweater for $6,000, which way to the big and tall section, fellas? Shit like this. I don't know what that is in Italian. Just to mess with them. But that day I got a mountain of Moleskines, $500 worth. Took them home. Never seen them before. Mm-hmm. Used them for a couple years. And then it was just kind of like this Van Gogh shit they're saying. They're full of shit. It's marketing. It hurt. I just kind of felt betrayed. I really thought Van Gogh used a Moleskine back in the day. No, it's something to sell books. So I was like, I can make these things on my own. That comes simply from we can make our own skateboards, we can make our own graphics, we can make our own band, our own record cover, or make my own little memo books, and not have Hello Kitty on it,
right.
Or bitch soap, or ironic, fake, faux, industrial shmam with bad type. I can make my own bad type and have it feel authentic. That's all it was, and made my own $2,000 for $2,000.
Well, I want to know how ownership has changed your paradigm.
Oh, man. Well, first of all, in every one of these, I have to say, Jim Coudal, who is really, den mother of this thing, who watches over all of us, and Michelle Seiler in Chicago and Brian Bedell. These are the people that make that thing awesome. I got lucky. I brought it to Jim and said, hey, take a pile of these. I was hand screen printing them.
Okay.
Just for the hell of it. Because you can make 200 in a night. I was hand screaming. Because that's how we were trained to do it. It was scary for me to go and actually print them, because then you're like taking up people's time. Putting them in Jim's hands, it became a real thing. It became a company. It became, there was some plans and things, a website, sales.
Distribution models, yeah.
So in all honesty, I owe precisely my arm and a good chunk of the torso to Jim.
Okay.
A fifth of this 666-pound gorilla body, because he gave me a future, a company, a way, work, things, and also a polish. Those guys those names I was listing, I love them because they, we have that's what their main thing is now.
So we got to get you out of here pretty fast, but I definitely want to talk to you about your creative process.
Let's go.
Can you encapsulate it for us? Can you, how does the...
I thought we were at 45 minutes. Who's cutting into my time? I've been waiting 6 months for this shit. I will get this full thing moving.
You can say as long as you want. I just think you got something else. So, how do you prep the soil? How do you plant the seed, nurture it into a full-grown thing?
Well, with every project that comes down the line, first things first, no money, let's talk. There's other ways to make a living than just getting some paycheck. The pompous quality of what I see is everyone thinks they should be 10 grand an hour. That's just not how it works. Or every job should be that. I don't take work for that price. I don't do work that...
I don't get out of bed.
Kind of... they say it. I don't work for things... I don't work for projects that compromise my creative control. Okay. Starve then. I just like the idea of making the client super comfortable, be it my buddy in a shitty heavy metal band or someone who's actually substantial and professional. I know I'm being a ham with you, but if you put me on a phone call and you were on the other end of that call guiding me, you would never know any of this stuff because that's something I was trained. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So how do you talk about that? Is that an act? No, it's called being a professional.
Right.
Now, no one's going to know that here because they see me and big and bullshittery and whatever, unkept. No. For creative process, it's really, if there's money on the table, it's an Italian saying. The money's on the table. It's time to work. I know how to go and be professional, have nice emails, have research things, stuff, meetings about meetings, emails about meals, milestones, targets, bullshits, budgets, all that shit.
Really?
But that is the 1 out of 10. 9 things, I can look at my buddy Steve Carter and say, I hate your face. I like your kid. Steve, I hate your project. I hate you. No, I love them even more because he's a punk rocker. Tattoos and switchblades and bullshits all over his skin and stuff. But I can make a living with stacking up 9 of those and enjoy my life. So I apply the exact same creative process to that. It comes with a different sort of asterisk at the end.
Got it.
If I'm talking to you and you're professional, you would never know me that way. If I allow you to cuss first, that's how you do it. That's how you break the ice. And you start talking replacements and other Michigans and shit. If it's Susan, the account manager, I will never breach any of that because it's up to her to be comfortable. I make her comfortable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So these are little funny tactics of just
it's relationships.
First of all, she's never even going to meet me. We're never going to sit across from each other like this. Not to mention, she may hear my voice. It's only through emails. So, what business acumen, what are the judgery things she gets to judge me by? Hopefully it's punctuation. It's saying thank you. It's using her first name in an appropriate way. It's old-fashioned bullshit. If there's 9 people on the stupid multi-reply, whatever, the ladies go first and then the dudes go second. My dad taught me this stuff. And I have to put Michaela, McKenna, Mackenzie, Riley, Ethan, and Carl. I was trained that way.
Yeah.
I do that. I know it's kind of persnickety, but every now and again someone will say, I just saw how you did that. The other guys just go like this. Reply all. Cool. No period,
I think
no
it shows a level of respect and attention to detail that is a hallmark of professionalism.
I just want them, I hope they like the logo in the end.
Yes.
That's what I'm making them do. But along the way, I love to defy the odds that a rapscallion like myself, pirate sailing the high seas. By the way, if you guys knew how much shit I stole from Adobe in the 90s, there'd be a big bill. But we need to get into that. But, the idea that you can get away with that, because that is just as a really fun kind of fuckery that we get to hold close. So I appreciate that. People come, and I hear a lot of this stuff. Draplin, I know what you really like. But the last 3 designers, they were terrible to work with.
Yeah.
Then I'm in.
Okay.
Let's go. You can come to my house, take your pants off, hang out, relax. I had guys come to my house.
Pants off these days is a little iffy. You might
Well,
want to...
remember, these are a bunch of stupid snowboarding dudes.
Okay.
They were comfortable. We didn't even have that at our cool big business jobs. No, you got to come to my basement and be comfortable. How cool is that?
Do you ever have any, like, mental sludge or self-doubt that you have to work through?
Daily. This morning. I mean, who wants to work until 4 a.m. because you're busy with 5,000 other things and then have to get up at 7 to meet Amanda? This is what I promised. So, yes, that's tough, but it's also an adrenaline fun day to go and feel bigger than you are and be freaked out, and then to tell a kid, no, I was working till 4 last night. That is absolutely true. So... sludge.
I like that it sounds like you embrace it rather than like cowering in fear. You're like, this is good, maybe this
I want to make a big goddamn paycheck. I take care of my mom, my girl.
Yeah.
Oh, you ought to see my girl. What a breath of fresh air.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your home life. What's going on there?
Oh, my God. This girl, she might have a vision problem. Well, me to you, but she's my girl Lee. She's just cool, and she's got her shit together. She's a raging badass feminist who takes no shit from this muskox or really anyone. She's a mom. She has a 19-year-old boy who's a 6'5" beautiful kid who when he realizes how beautiful he is, ooh,
danger,
trouble. But still kind of a teenager. But she's just
sounds like you've built a happy life for yourself.
Oh, we've been together 10 years, 7 months, 4 weeks, 6 hours and 7 minutes.
I
think maybe it's 8 minutes.
I like seeing the love.
If you saw her, the way she's looking at me, just relax over the producers staring in the window. Who's next? Hish? So she's very patient with me. And I know I'm a pile of shit, but she's cool. Tomorrow, we do a crazy day of merch here. And the day after, she turns 41. And she has a laundry list of shit we're going to go do. We're going to the Broad Museum. We're going to Clifton's to eat. We're going to this place to have a nightcap. I can't even get in because I dress like, Cabela's bargain cape. She's going to wear a little something. I'm not even allowed in. We're going to this little place to overlook. She's got like 9 things. It's her birthday. She's going to do what she wants. And she will curate that. So be Uber around town. We'll have, think of your life and how fast a day goes wherever you live, wherever I live. And then to have one day in LA just to go and just do nothing. That's what we're doing on her birthday. That'll
be really fun. Tell her happy birthday for me. And you just had your birthday. Does that
45.
mean you guys same zodiac sign?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
We don't have to get into that.
Libra Schmebra. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Is there anything that you are hell-bent on manifesting in this lifetime? An experience, an adventure, an outcome?
Well, health. Getting tinier. Being a responsible human who,
Yeah, making the world...
Output and input.
Gotcha.
How do you, living, eating, breathing, bleeding like a stupid-ass American everywhere. I think we can all get better with that. I would like to manifest a very swift impeachment of that piece of shit. I'll put that one on the record if you don't mind.
Don't mind.
With a very underline and a good Futura extra bold.
We get an exclamation point.
I would love to see. This is the funny part. Say I make a bunch of cash and I can retire, and then what? Make logos still for my buddies? LGB. I'll be just as busy. I know that about myself. Or what? We're gonna retire and go like hike and go outside. You know what I mean? Like Lee's always like, let's go to the beach. What? You get sand in the crack. It's too hot. She likes to go lay in the beach. I don't do that shit. So
I have a feeling you'll still have fun in retirement, though.
Well, the idea is...
Good times don't avoid you.
Well, to just be a good human being and love this stuff along the way. If I'm 45 years old, that's, 10 more years of really kicking ass or trying? Because I don't want to be playing a 22-year-old game when I'm 55 years old. I can't be. It's just weird, it's scary to me. Because I'll just say it. I meet some guys who are like apologetic of their age and stuff. It's like, who gives a shit? You are like seasoned crust. I dig it. The gray and the lines and the things. And you're, there's a guy here, and I can't really say his name, but it rhymes with Schmemphill. And he is just a very sweet guy. And just, he told me how old he was. And I'm not going to name any names, but it was just really cool that he's that old and not that old.
Oh, I've met some old people that have the most forward-thinking minds ever.
And
they've got the wisdom. You put that with the forward-thinking, and then now you've got a magic combination.
So I just want to be, a fun middle-aged person. Want to live a nice, long, healthy life, and then die hard at a good splat. I don't know, hazmat situation when I'm... all this shit is bits. You know this, right? It's all been practiced.
Call the crime scene cleaners.
Now I'm on a real podcast. But what about when you're talking to 7 little rat kids in Clemson? You have 7 listeners. Like, how many listeners do you guys have? 7. All right.
Well, listen, do you have a recent project or an upcoming project that you want our listeners to know about?
I have something that I can't talk about. But I'll just say this much.
Okay.
It is a democratization of graphic design. It's something that everyone gets to use, and I can't talk about it until it comes out.
Okay.
When it does come out, it's going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet, and it'll be all over America. But I'm not allowed to say anything. I am beside myself because it's been a dream thing. But I can't talk about it. Okay. But something I can talk about.
Can you talk about maybe when you can talk about it? Do you know
when it comes out? That's all I can say.
Okay.
Like with records.
But you don't know when that is?
I don't.
Okay.
Because they're real weird about it. But
okay.
Records, there's a schedule. The band hits this, the new DeLines record from my friends Richmond Fontaine in Portland, their new little record called The DeLines, that comes out, a month or something. I could talk about that all day long. What incredible currency to work on that stuff for your friends. That's what I do in Portland. Yeah. Some of these bigger things. What are your dreams? Well, I hit them already, which was just being self-sufficient. Making enough to take care of Lee, my mom, my rat sisters, and then my little nephew, my terrible friend Dale. Okay, so I got it all covered. And I know these are dumb little sound bites and bits and stuff, and everyone else will be so much elegant and smart and all this, saying say cute things like I haven't had my coffee yet. I'm sorry, I'm so whatever. The same shit here over and over again. That's been the goal. There's no accolades. There's no gold medals or, whatever the fucks. Who cares?
I like how indignant you get. I haven't had my coffee yet.
You're going to hear it. I hear it all day long.
Listen, this has been really awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your crusty fuckery with us.
Can we just keep it professional? Okay? Can we keep it technical?
No, man. I like your kind of professional.
I just want to have fun. If you're ever in Portland, you come, not if you are. Next time you're there, we'll bring you by the shop, put you to work.
I'm down. I am so down with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, everyone. To learn more about Aaron and see images of his work, go to cleverpodcast.com. Or you can click the link in the details of this episode on your podcast app. And thanks again to Adobe Max and Airstream. Let's do this again.
Next time I'll be there.
Yes.
You can also subscribe to Clever on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're in the mood, please rate and review us. It really helps us connect with new listeners and share these stories. We also love chatting with you on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us at Clever Podcasts. Clever is created, produced, and hosted by us, Amy Devers and Jamie Derringer, aka 2VDE Media, with editing by Jenny Josephson and music by L1011. Clever is proudly distributed by Design Milk.